All right, welcome to video 5, Forward-Facing Relationship Recovery and Resilience with the Gottman Method. In video 5, we're going to talk about the Adverse Childhood Experiences Questionnaire, or assessment as I call it here. The Adverse Childhood Experiences Assessment. Recent scientists taught us that the potential for healing and recovery is in yours and everyone else's various cells. Only when the brain feels safe can it optimally reconstruct itself and relate to others from a place of safety. It needs to know that it is being understood and empathized with, which is the ultimate goal for couples therapy. That's going to be a huge part of actually a lot of the tools is to help our partner's brain um, understand that it is being understood and empathized with. When this can happen, it's amazing how our defensive systems can come down and go, relax. People with toxic stress typically have problems feeling safe. Many were sexually, physically, or emotionally abused. Others lived for years in an environment of fear, trauma, or continual stress. Such an environment causes the brain to produce powerful neurochemicals repeatedly. Over time, the brain can become addicted to them. This is why survivors are often drawn to drama, intensity, stress, and fear. They cause the body to generate cortisol and endorphins. These chemicals become the two main drivers of impulsive and compulsive behaviors, as well as physical and mental health conditions that are harmful to our health and well-being. In the next few exercises and assessments that are optimal for the reader, that are optional, for the reader, help us reflect on what is in the background of our toxic stress. To move forward, we need to acknowledge how we have needed to adapt to our painful past experiences for survival within our family structures and previous relationships. These survival strategies that our bodies were designed to harness for times of danger and distress brought us here. So, for example, they brought us here right in this moment. We're 100% safe from our past traumas. So they worked. Whatever strategies we had worked. We are not victims because we survived. But the hard work now is to convincing ourselves that we are not still in the pain of our past, needing to survive the thoughts, memories, and cues that trigger us today. These are the parts where our past pain and the way we've been able to survive them are now hurting our relationships because we find ourselves in offensive or defensive strategies that worked in the past for survival. But survival strategies are not great for relationships or forming safety between couples, and even like this could even be for friendships, for example. So in 1985, Dr. Vincent Folletti and his staff got curious about the underlying issues causing their patients to drop out of their health programs and started the Adverse Childhood Experiences, or ACE, study with Dr. Robert Anda and a team of researchers. They made connections between these painful childhood experiences and health problems in the future. Most people who survive their childhoods with one or more ACEs develop a highly adaptive threat perception system fueled by hypervigilance. Adaptive, it means that we have adapted to being survival strategies. And now, highly adaptive could also be over adaptive for our current situations where we're not in a survival state anymore. And if you are, then it's still adaptive for you. If you're not, it's over adaptive and it's hurting us now. It's hurting our relationships. It's continuing to fuel our body with things that are clouding our judgment and in clouding or hurting, hindering our relationship ability. And hypervigilance is a word for those who aren't familiar with it. It's a word that just means that we're always on the lookout. Our nervous systems are constantly in search for cues of danger, cues of threat. So this hypervigilance doesn't stop when we are safe from our previously dangerous environment. We experience post-traumatic stress to varying degrees and often have the perception of threat where there is little or no danger. This is something that's constantly in forward-facing literature. Perception of threat where there is little or no danger is really important understanding. It's no longer unsafe. It's now scary. It's triggering. We're now safe. I'm in this room. I'm looking around. I have no danger around me, but I could be triggered. Maybe someone's judging me. Maybe I made a mistake and my fight or flight could kick in. Well, that's over adaptive because I don't need fight or flight right now. That shuts my brain down, stops my social abilities in its tracks. And now I'm going to sweat and I'm going to stutter and I'm going to do things on the video that just aren't helpful to me. So that's a perception of threat where there's little or no danger. I'm in this room, no one's attacking me. I don't need to move. I don't need to quickly get out of the way. I'm in a perfectly safe environment right now. So I don't need my threat response to turn on right now. So if you feel safe to do so, take a moment to check your ACE score on the next 2 pages and find out how your past may be impacting your present feelings of safety, your relationships, and your health in different areas of your life. So here's the traditional one. The first 10 are, so we're thinking about between 0 and 18 years old, and just circle a yes if it's true or a no if it's not. If you're questioning it, that's fine. You can put a little note beside it if you want. Often if I'm questioning it, it is a yes. I'm just not sure to what degree. But if it did activate my nervous system, cause triggers and things like that, I would circle yes in that case. So number 1, your parents or guardians were separated or divorced. Then you circle yes or no. You lived in a household member who served time in jail or prison. You lived with a household member who was depressed, mentally ill, or attempted suicide. You saw or heard household members hurt or threaten to hurt each other. A household member swore at, insulted, humiliated, or put you down in a way that scared you, or a household member acted in a way that made you afraid that you might be physically hurt. Someone touched your private parts or asked you to touch their private parts in a sexual way that was unwanted, against your will, or made you feel uncomfortable. More than once, you went without food, clothing, a place to live, or had no one to protect you. Someone pushed, grabbed, slapped, or threw something at you, or you were hit so hard that you were injured or had marks. Number 9, you lived with someone who had a problem with drinking or using drugs. Number 10, you often felt unsupported, unloved, and or unprotected. What you do here is you add up all your yeses, and this is your ACE score of 10. That's the traditional one. There's also 9 more. One is you've been in foster care. Number 12, you've experienced harassment or bullying at school. Number 13, you have lived with a parent or guardian who died. 14, you've been separated from your primary caregiver through deportation or immigration. 15, you've had serious medical procedure or life-threatening illness. 16, you've often seen or heard violence in the neighborhood or in your school neighborhood. 17, you have been detained, arrested, or incarcerated. 18, you've often been treated badly because of race, sexual orientation, a place of birth, disability, or your religion. 19, you have experienced verbal or physical abuse or threats from a romantic partner. So if any of those are yeses, it adds to a state of hypervigilance, or it adds to the amount of triggers that are surrounding you. Sometimes people can use the ACE score in ways that allow them to speak with medical professionals in a way that allows them to understand, I've had a lot of traumas in my past. I've had a lot of things happen to me that caused a lot of triggers. A colleague of mine used her ACE score in order to help instruct a dentist to just let me know what's happening so that I'm aware when you lean close to my mouth, I need to know when you're going to do that so I don't react and my nervous system doesn't try to defend me and embarrass me or cause harm to you or me because of the surgical tools that you're using. So as long as she was aware of what was happening, she was able to regulate through the surgery or the dental procedures or medical examinations that happen. So that can be really helpful for medical professionals or other, let's say psychologists or counselors to know, what is my ACE score? How has it impacted me? how can it be influencing the things that are happening inside of me right now? And I use it also for relationships because our pain of the past can influence our reactivity toward our partner. They may never have done anything to me that was violent, but when they do a certain thing, maybe slamming a door, maybe something in the past is triggered from things like that, and all of a sudden they have the look of an enemy to me inside. My nervous system is reacting to them as if they did something on purpose to scare me or to hurt me right now. So these kind of things they impact our relationships, and that's important to understand that, so that we can become more self-aware and then be able to extend to our partners some of the dialogue that we maybe have held back before because we thought it was irrelevant. I'm reacting this way because in the past this happened, and so I don't mean to be reactive around you. It's just like when you slam the door, I just go into fight or flight, and so it makes me irritable, it makes me angry, it makes me lash out. And so I don't want you to take that personally, and I'm trying to regulate myself in that moment. And I just want you to understand, because it's not you, it's something that happened in my past. Those kinds of things can be really important. So these are the things that also, if you ever heard of trauma informed care, it's a direct result of the ACE study in understanding how our past influences our present moment, health wise, relationship wise, and in a lot of other ways. And mental health wise as well. So that's where I'll stop for now. We're going to move into next, we're going to peek into something called a global check set. How have my ACEs, how have my past experiences influenced my current mental health and behavioral health?